In your life, I'm sure you've probably dealt with unfulfilled promises and you think it's the worst. Well, I raise you promises that give headache. Promises that anytime you think about it, you start to have headache. Someone promised you something, yet anytime you think about the promise, instead of you to be happy, oh, this is going to happen, he's going to do this, they're going to do that for me, you suddenly have headache. Because should I say it like this? Okay, if I say it like that, what if he changes his mind? What if he say I'm lying? What if this? What if that? What if only issues? Because you know very well that this person will not just make a promise and just fulfill it without stressing anybody. Because you know that that's how the person is. God, I hate to be in that situation. But I've been there a lot. And I know that most of us have been there too. And so because of all these multiple experiences with these people, whenever someone makes you a promise, you not only start worrying about whether they are going to fulfill the promise or not, you also start worrying about how you are going to have to disturb them for the promise to be fulfilled. What you are going to tell them, how you will say it, what you need to do right, what you shouldn't do at all, so that you don't make them change their minds, how you are going to follow up, how many times that you will greet them in a week, or how many times you greet them in a month, so that they will get the idea and so that they will at least fulfill their promises. Because of all these multiple experiences that you've had with human beings, sometimes you make the mistake of approaching God with that mindset too. God makes you a promise. Instead of you to be happy that finally this issue in your life has been addressed, He just opens you into a chapter of anxiety, worry, and stress, because subconsciously you've forgotten that God is not a man. You've forgotten that God is not that your uncle from your father's side. So when God promises to solve a problem for you or to do something beautiful for you, your first inclination is to look around you and look for things that you can do to either hasten it up or to make sure that it doesn't fail. For instance, God promises to bless you with money. Then you now remember somebody that brought one deal to you that said you should invest 20,000 naira and you get 1 million naira in 1 week. Something that you were very skeptical about, or you will now remember it, you will now say, oh, that's probably where God wanted to give me this money from. And then you now go and invest it. Or God promises to give you a car, and then you remember that there was someone that came and was talking to you about a car that did this and did that, and then you just develop that desperate desire to go and meet the person, to go and strike the deal, and just maybe that is where God's blessing is meant to come from. It happened to Sarah too. God promised Abraham, I'll give you a son. And then they waited for a while, and Sarah called her husband, Bia. Why don't I give you Hagar so you can sleep with her? And just maybe that's the way God intended to bless us with a child. And then she ended up achieving something that has caused a lot of issues, only to find out that that son was not the son God was talking about. And that's the way so many of us have made avoidable mistakes, because we're trying to help God fulfill His promises to us. If you're sitting on this table, then this message is for you. When God makes a promise, He has the ability, He has the capacity to fulfill His promise. God's promise to you is meant to bring you peace, is meant to bring you closure, is meant to bring you fulfillment, is meant to bring you rest, not desperation, not anxiety, not despair, not headache, not headache. God is not your ex-boyfriend. God is not your baby daddy. God is not your uncle that does not do anything for you. God is not a deadbeat father. When He makes a promise, He has the ability and He has the capacity to fulfill the promise. You need to give God the regard that He deserves. Stop treating God's promises the way you treat a man's promise. God is not a man. I understand that there's a place for preparation, there's a place for discernment, because sometimes if God would do something for you, He would most likely do it through this person or through that person or through this platform or through that platform. But again, I said, one of the things God is not known for is giving people anxiety, putting undue pressure and desperation on you because He made a promise. So these are the ways you will even know whether you are missing it somewhere or not. And for those of you who even try to use sin to help God to fulfill his promise. That one is another story for another day. God is not going to promise you a thing and expect you to be the one carrying the burden and be the one worrying about how that thing is going to come to pass. God is not a man. Don't think you can help him. You're helping him. Do you know when he wants to do it for you? Do you know if it's now he wants to do it? Did he ask for your help? Like I said, even if you're trying to align yourself, you're trying to be discerning to ensure that you're not missing what God is asking you to do, you must make sure you're not doing it independent of God's direction. You must make sure you're not doing it void of God's guidance. And that's why you need to walk with God. You need to have a walk with God so that when you're faced with situations like this, you will not be guessing.